Hello and a big warm welcome to this presentation from the Urban Penguin. My name is Andrew Mallard, and in today's presentation, do you know what? We're going to dive out to our command line and we're going to look at different ways that we can convert characters from uppercase to lowercase or lowercase to uppercase. Now, of course, we have got the TR command, and that's going to be independent of any shell that you're working with. We're relying on the command, not anything built into the shell. But if we're working with the bash shell, then we can go through and start looking at some of the things that we can do with parameter expansion, and we'll see what that's all about. And we're also able to go through and use the declare command, so we actually store values in variables in either uppercase or lowercase. Come on, let's look at these three methods. And here we are, our glorious Pixel Playground, the Pixel Playground that is my Raspberry Pi. The great thing about the environment we are working with is that there is so much you can learn and benefit from the Linux command line. So let's go through and look at how we can start converting our uppercase characters to lowercase or vice versa. The first thing that we can look at is the TR command, the translate command. The great thing about the translate command is it's an independent command. Look at this. When we look at the type of the TR command, it's an ordinary binary file rather than being built into your shell. So it doesn't matter the shell that you're going to use, you're always going to have the TR command. Now, when we look at the lower text file, you can see all the characters in it are lowercase. It's just a rubbish file. It doesn't really matter. But we can then go through and look at converting the characters to uppercase. It's a little bit verbose, but we need to open up our single quotes, and we can put in some POSIX characters to specify that we want to have our lowercase characters converted through to uppercase characters. And make sure you've got a space separating the two sets that we are working with. We can then read in from our lower text file and look at that. Everything now is uppercase. We've not actually gone through and edited the file. We've only displayed the contents in uppercase. We can, of course, redirect our output through to, let's call it upper text. And we know now that when we look at the upper text file, we've now stored our translation as uppercase. Now, this then is okay, and we can also look at converting it the other way round. This is going to be easy, isn't it? We know how to do it, but the practice is going to be value. So if we go through then and read in from our upper text file, and then don't forget we have to swap the upper and lower round now. So we want to convert our uppercase characters, that's set 1, to lowercase, that's set 2. And we can see now that we're back at our starting point where all of our alphabet characters are now all stored as lowercase. Now, the great thing of the TR command is we're not just restricted through to files. If we look at our user variable here, we can see that the value is stored as lowercase pi. So if I then pipe the output of my user variable through to our good friend that we should be very familiar with now, TR, and then go through and convert the lowercase characters through to uppercase, we should be able to then see our value in uppercase. But you can see this is also a little bit laborious having to type this. So as I go through, just being very careful with my fingers here, we can see now at least we have got it all converted through to uppercase. So it does work and does have that flexibility. However, within our bash shell, we have got something called parameter expansion that makes life a little bit easier. So if we go back and look at where we're defining or putting our variable name, if we put brace brackets around this, this is used to delimit the name. So we get then our value coming back. But inside of those brace brackets, we can put parameter expansion. And we're going to be looking then at trying to convert this to uppercase. And if I want to convert the whole variable to uppercase, I just use two carets, C-A-R-E-T. And if I just want to look at the first character only, we just use the single caret. So look at that. That is really easy, isn't it? And that's really good. But of course, we're not restricted just to uppercase or lowercase characters. Let's show you what I mean. If we set up our variable var1 having a mixed case value, we'll be able to see a little bit more here. And of course, then we can go through and echo out our variable 1. And again, with just the brace brackets in place, we get the value as stored, and it's stored in mixed case. Now, we've seen that we can use then the carets to convert to uppercase. Obviously, converting just the first character has no real effect because it was in uppercase anyway. But we can now go through and look at the comma. This is to convert to lowercase. Single comma is just the first character. A double comma is all characters in our string. But we can also change case. A single tilde changes the case of the first character. A double tilde, and look at this, we get a very weird my value coming back as we've inverted or changed the case of each of our characters. Now, of course, we're not actually changing the value of what's stored in the variable, and this is then really useful because we might want to maintain the actual value stored in mixed case, because maybe we're writing that through to a configuration file and it's easier to read in mixed case. But if we want to compare it to an existing setting, well, that setting might be displayed by the server in just lowercase or just uppercase. So it becomes a very easy way we can compare our values to what's stored within our system. However, if we don't need to worry about storing the original value, then we can also think of setting up our variables in a particular way. Declare -L var1 and then setting the value to a mixed case, the value being stored is going to be all in lowercase. The value of our variable now has been affected because declaring a variable as a lowercase variable only stores lowercase values. So it's converted as we enter. In the same way as we use declare -U, the whole string is stored in uppercase because that's what we're setting with the declare command. Now, this then can be very useful, as I say, well, we don't really need to worry about how the value was input, but we just want to use it as a known case, either uppercase or lowercase, for our comparisons. But look at this. You've learned the use of the TR command to translate from uppercase to lowercase. You've seen how you can use parameter expansion to translate from uppercase to lowercase. And we've seen how we can create uppercase or lowercase variables using the declare command.
All that is left to say is thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, then you are probably sadder than I first thought. For more of this drivel, please subscribe, like and comment to @TheUrbanPenguin.